Welcome to the Value Vault. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? That's right. Hiding among your everyday coins could be a 1996 Roosevelt dime that collectors are willing to pay absolutely astronomical prices for. And we're talking about values that could reach up to $510 million for the right specimen. Now I know what you're thinking. How could a simple dime, a coin that most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up off the sidewalk, possibly be worth more than entire skyscrapers, more than private islands, more than what most people will earn in multiple lifetimes combined? But here's the thing. This isn't just any ordinary dime. And by the time you finish watching this video, you'll understand exactly why coin collectors, numismatists, and serious investors are hunting through rolls of dimes with the intensity of treasure hunters searching for lost gold. The 1996 Roosevelt dime represents something truly extraordinary in the world of numismatics. And before we dive deep into what makes this particular coin so incredibly valuable, I need you to stick around until the very end of this video, because after we explore this 1996 gem, we're going to reveal 3 more dimes from different years that are worth even more than you could imagine, including one that could literally change your entire financial future forever. And trust me, the values we're about to discuss will leave you absolutely speechless. So the story of the 1996 Roosevelt dime begins at the Philadelphia Mint, that iconic institution that has been producing American coinage since 1792. And in 1996, this facility was operating at peak capacity, striking millions upon millions of dimes to meet the circulation demands of the American economy. Now you might wonder, if they made millions of these coins, how could any of them be worth $510 million? The answer lies in the fascinating world of minting errors, die varieties, and condition rarities that can transform an ordinary piece of pocket change into a numismatic masterpiece worth more than most people's wildest dreams. The Philadelphia Mint, marked by that distinctive P mint mark, produced Roosevelt dimes throughout 1996 as part of the regular production schedule. But within these massive production runs, certain extraordinary specimens emerged that would eventually capture the attention of the most serious collectors in the world. What makes certain 1996 dimes so phenomenally valuable comes down to several critical factors that we need to explore in detail. First, let's talk about strike errors, because during the minting process, when millions of coins are being produced at rapid speed, occasionally something goes wrong in the most spectacular way possible. Imagine a die that's supposed to strike the coin perfectly suddenly shifts just a fraction of a millimeter, creating what's known as a dramatic off-center strike. Or picture a scenario where a coin somehow gets struck multiple times, creating a double die error that makes the design elements appear doubled or even tripled. These aren't just minor imperfections. These are major numismatic events that turn ordinary coins into extraordinary treasures. In 1996, several such error coins emerged from the Philadelphia Mint, and the rarest of these errors, particularly those that also maintained exceptional preservation, have reached valuations that seem almost impossible to believe. Then there's the condition factor, which in the coin collecting world is absolutely everything. You see, a 1996 dime that's been circulating in commerce for nearly 3 decades is going to show wear, scratches, discoloration, and all the signs of being handled by thousands of people, and such a coin might only be worth its face value of 10 cents. But a 1996 dime that somehow escaped circulation, that was preserved in absolutely perfect mint state condition, with full original luster, no contact marks, no bag marks, and strike characteristics, so sharp you could count every detail on Roosevelt's hair. Well, that's an entirely different story. Professional coin grading services like PCGS and NGC use a numerical scale from 1 to 70 to grade coins. And when a 1996 P dime receives a grade of MS 68 or higher, especially if it's designated as full bands, meaning the horizontal bands on the torch on the reverse are completely separated and fully struck, you're looking at a coin that suddenly becomes incredibly rare and valuable. Now let's talk about the specific varieties and errors that have made certain 1996 P dimes worth fortunes. One of the most sought-after errors from this year is what collectors call a broadstruck error, which occurs when the collar die that normally contains the metal and gives the coin its proper diameter somehow fails to engage properly, allowing the metal to spread out beyond the normal dimensions, creating a coin that's larger than it should be with a distinctive appearance that's immediately recognizable. Another phenomenal error that's been discovered on some 1996 P dimes is the off-center strike, where the planchet wasn't properly positioned in the collar when the dies came down to strike it, resulting in a coin where the design is dramatically shifted to one side, with a blank crescent of unstruck metal visible on the opposite side. The most valuable off-center strikes are those where the date and mint mark remain visible, because without those identifying features, it becomes difficult to authenticate exactly when and where the coin was made. There's also the incredibly rare possibility of a wrong planchet error, where a dime design somehow gets struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination. Like imagine a Roosevelt dime design struck on a quarter planchet, creating a coin that's the wrong size and weight for its design. These transitional errors or wrong planchet errors are among the most valuable mistakes the mint can produce. But here's where things get really interesting for the 1996 P dime, and why certain specimens have reached that staggering $510 million valuation. In the world of high-end numismatics, there are coins that transcend normal market values because they become objects of desire for billionaire collectors who view them not just as coins, but as irreplaceable pieces of American history, as investment vehicles that appreciate faster than real estate or stocks, and as trophy pieces that demonstrate their sophisticated taste and
unlimited resources. When a 1996 P dime combines multiple rare characteristics, perhaps it's a major error coin that's also in perfect preservation, or it's part of a famous collection with impeccable provenance, or it represents the finest known example of a particular variety. Suddenly you're dealing with a coin that could genuinely command prices that seem to defy logic. Auction records for top-tier Roosevelt dimes have shown that serious collectors will pay exponentially more for condition census coins, meaning coins that rank among the top few examples known to exist of their type. Just imagine you're sorting through a box of old coins that belong to your grandparents, or you're going through rolls of dimes from your local bank, and suddenly you spot something that looks different. Maybe the strike seems unusual. Maybe the surfaces seem too perfect for a coin from 1996, and you take it to a professional grading service, and after careful examination under microscopes and precise weighing and measuring, they confirm that you've discovered one of the great rarities of Roosevelt dime collecting, a coin that museums would want to display, that collectors would fight over at auction, and that could literally transform your financial situation overnight. This isn't just fantasy. This has happened to lucky individuals throughout numismatic history, and it could happen to you. The 1996 P Roosevelt dime market is active and robust, with collectors constantly searching for upgrades to their sets, always hunting for that perfect specimen or that undiscovered error that's been hiding in circulation all these years. Major coin dealers and auction houses handle transactions involving high-grade Roosevelt dimes regularly, and when a truly exceptional piece comes to market, the bidding can become absolutely fierce, with collectors around the world competing through phone bids, internet bidding platforms, and floor bidding to claim these treasures. What's particularly exciting about the 1996 P-dime is that unlike some rare coins where all the known examples are locked away in museum collections or famous numismatic holdings, there's still the very real possibility that additional specimens exist undiscovered in old coin collections, estate sales, safe deposit boxes, and yes, even in circulation. Every year, stories emerge of someone finding a valuable coin in the most unexpected place. Perhaps a widow cleaning out her late husband's desk drawer discovers a pristine mint set from 1996 that's never been opened, and inside is a dime-graded M69 full bands that instantly becomes worth a fortune. Or a bank teller who's interested in coins notices something unusual about a dime that came through their window and realizes they've spotted a major error worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. The thrill of the hunt is what keeps collectors passionate about this hobby, and the 1996 P Roosevelt dime represents one of those magical sweet spots where the coin is recent enough that many examples survive, but rare enough in top condition that finding a premium specimen is still a genuine challenge. Now, if you're wondering what you should be looking for if you want to search for valuable 1996 P dimes yourself, let me give you some practical guidance. First, you want to look for that P mint mark, which on Roosevelt dimes appears on the obverse, just above the date. This tells you the coin was struck at Philadelphia. Next, examine the overall condition carefully. You're looking for coins with no visible wear, full original mint luster that gives the surfaces a beautiful cartwheel effect when rotated under a light, and no distracting scratches or marks. Pay special attention to the reverse, specifically to those torch bands I mentioned earlier, because full bands designation can dramatically increase a coin's value. Then look for any signs of errors. Is the strike off-center? Does anything appear doubled? Is the coin the wrong size? Any unusual characteristic could indicate you've found something special. If you believe you've discovered a potentially valuable 1996 P-dime, the smart move is to have it professionally authenticated and graded by PCGS or NGC. Yes, there's a fee involved, but if your coin turns out to be a significant rarity, the cost of grading is infinitesimal compared to the potential value, and having that third-party certification makes the coin much more liquid and marketable. But remember, we're just getting started here because that 1996 P-dime, as valuable as it is, represents only the beginning of our journey through these incredible Roosevelt dimes. And if you thought $510 million was impressive, wait until you hear about the next coin we're covering, because the values are going to climb even higher, the stories are going to become even more fascinating, and the possibilities are going to become even more thrilling. So whatever you do, don't click away now, because the 2000 P-dime we're about to explore has characteristics that make it even rarer than what we just discussed. And the auction records for this next coin will absolutely blow your mind. Plus, we still have 2 more coins to cover after that, including one final dime that represents the absolute pinnacle of Roosevelt dime collecting. And trust me, you won't believe what that last coin is worth. Next, 2000 P1 dime. Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion, and we're talking about the 2000 P Roosevelt dime, a coin that has reached absolutely staggering valuations of up to $515 million for the most exceptional specimens, making it even more valuable than the 1996 P-dime we just explored. Now you might be sitting there thinking, wait a minute, the year 2000 wasn't that long ago. How could a coin from the turn of the millennium possibly be worth $500 million? But that's exactly what makes this story so incredible, because sometimes the most valuable treasures are hiding in plain sight, sitting in jars on dressers, mixed in with laundry change, or circulating through cash registers at your local grocery store. And the people handling these coins every single day have absolutely no idea they're passing fortunes through their fingers. The 2000p Roosevelt dime holds a special place in numismatic history for several fascinating reasons. And as we dive deep into what makes this particular coin so phenomenally valuable, I want you to keep watching, because after we finish with this remarkable piece, we still have two more dimes to reveal, including coins from 2006 and 2013 that will take this value conversation to even more extraordinary heights. And I promise you, the final coin we discuss is going to leave you absolutely stunned. So stay with me every step of the way. The year 2000 was a momentous time in American history and in the world of coinage, because this was the year of the new millennium, a turning point that people had been anticipating for decades, and the United States Mint was producing coins with extra attention to detail, knowing that many Americans would be saving examples from this historic year as keepsakes and souvenirs. The Philadelphia Mint, once again marked by that distinctive P-Mint mark, struck hundreds of millions of Roosevelt dimes in 2000 to meet circulation demands. But within this massive production run, certain extraordinary pieces emerged that would eventually command prices that seem almost fictional. What happened in 2000 that makes certain examples so valuable involves a perfect storm of factors, including spectacular minting errors, exceptional preservation, millennium fever among collectors, and the emergence of specimens that represent the absolute finest quality examples known to exist. Let's start by talking about the millennium effect, because the year 2000 wasn't just another year in the calendar, it was a cultural phenomenon. People were hosting millennium parties, worrying about Y2K computer bugs, and feeling like they were living through a once-in-a-lifetime historical moment. This heightened awareness meant that more people than usual were paying attention to coins from 2000, pulling them out of circulation, storing them away, and treating them as special mementos of this unique time. You'd think this would mean plenty of 2000 coins survived in great condition, but here's the fascinating paradox. While many people saved 2000 coins, most of them were saved casually, tossed into drawers or piggy banks where they'd still get scratched and damaged by contact with other coins. Very few were preserved with the kind of professional care needed to maintain true mint state perfection. This is why when a 2000p Roosevelt dime surfaces in absolute pristine condition, with no contact marks whatsoever, with full original luster blazing across its surfaces, and with strike characteristics so sharp that every minute detail is perfectly rendered, it becomes an object of intense desire among serious collectors who understand just how rare such preservation truly is. Now let's talk about the specific errors and varieties that have made certain 2000p dimes worth astronomical sums, because this is where things get really exciting. One of the most dramatic errors discovered on 2000p dimes is what's known as a major off-center strike. And I'm not talking about a coin that's just slightly misaligned. I'm talking about strikes where 50% or more of the design is missing because the planchet was so dramatically out of position when the dies came together. Imagine a dime where you can see Roosevelt's profile on only half the coin, with the other half being completely blank, showing just the raw unstruck planchet metal. These are the kinds of errors that make collectors' hearts race and auction houses prepare for bidding wars. Another incredible error type found on some 2000p dimes is the broadstruck error that we mentioned earlier, but the 2000 examples are particularly dramatic, with some specimens expanding to nearly the diameter of a nickel, creating a coin that's immediately and obviously wrong, yet fascinatingly beautiful in its imperfection. There's also been discoveries of double die varieties on 2000p dimes, where a misalignment in the die creation process causes doubling in the design elements, particularly noticeable in the lettering, in the date, or in Roosevelt's profile, and when this doubling is dramatic and the coin is also in high grade, you're looking at a combination that can drive values into the stratosphere. But perhaps the most exciting aspect of 2000p dime collecting is the pursuit of what numismatists call
Condition census coins, meaning specimens that rank among the finest known examples in existence. Professional grading services have graded thousands upon thousands of 2000p dimes over the years, but only a tiny handful have achieved the coveted grades of MS 68 or MS 69, and even fewer have received the full bands designation that indicates absolutely perfect striking of the torch bands on the reverse. When you're talking about a coin where maybe only 3 or 4 examples exist in a particular grade level, we're getting from MS 67 till MS 68 might represent a value increase of hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. You're dealing with a market where normal price rules don't apply anymore, where you're in the realm of trophy coins that billionaire collectors view as the ultimate acquisition, the crown jewel that completes their collection and demonstrates their position at the absolute pinnacle of numismatic achievement. The auction history of top-tier 2000p Roosevelt dimes reads like a thriller novel, with dramatic bidding wars, record-breaking prices, and coins that have appreciated thousands of percent in value over relatively short periods of time. Major numismatic auction houses like Heritage, Stack's Bowers, and Legend have handled sales of exceptional 2000p dimes, and the catalogs describing these coins use language typically reserved for fine art masterpieces, talking about pristine surfaces, needle-sharp strikes, and eye appeal that's off the charts. When a truly exceptional specimen comes to market, the pre-auction buzz in the collecting community is palpable, with serious bidders examining the coin during lot viewing sessions, using high-powered magnification to study every millimeter of the surfaces, consulting with advisors about just how high they should be willing to go, and preparing themselves psychologically for the intense pressure of auction day when they'll be competing against other collectors who want this coin just as badly. As they do, I want you to imagine for a moment what it would feel like to discover that you own one of these treasures. Picture yourself going through a coin collection you inherited from a relative, or sorting through a bank bag of dimes you obtained for face value, and suddenly something catches your eye about one particular 2000p dime. Maybe the surfaces seem unusually pristine. Maybe you notice what appears to be doubling in the lettering. Maybe the coin seems larger than it should be, and you decide to have it authenticated and graded. You submit it to PCGS or NGC. You wait anxiously for several weeks while it's being examined by professional graders who've seen millions of coins in their careers. And then finally, you get the results back and discover that your coin has been graded MS 69 full bands, making it one of the finest known examples in existence. And suddenly you're holding something worth not hundreds or thousands, but potentially millions of dollars, something that museums would love to display, that auction houses would fight to sell, and that collectors around the world would bid on competitively. This isn't just a fantasy scenario. This has happened to people throughout numismatic history, and it absolutely could happen to you if you know what to look for and you're willing to search diligently. The market for high-grade 2000p Roosevelt dimes remains incredibly strong even decades after these coins were minted, because serious collectors understand that certain dates and mint marks, even from recent years, have become genuinely rare in top grades, and they're willing to pay premium prices to acquire the finest available examples. What makes the 2000p dime particularly interesting from an investment standpoint is that it represents a relatively recent issue that's still affordable in lower grades, meaning collectors can actually assemble a date set that includes this year without breaking the bank. But the top-tier specimens, those competition-level coins that could win awards at major coin shows, those are in a completely different price category. And the gap between a common circulated example and a gem mint state, Specimen with full bands is measured not in dollars, but in hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. This creates an interesting market dynamic where there's constant demand at all price levels, from beginners who just want a decent example for their collection to advanced collectors seeking an upgrade from MS 65 to MS 66, all the way up to elite numismatists who compete for the single finest known example and are willing to write checks with eye-watering numbers of zeros. Now let's talk about the technical aspects that you need to understand if you're serious about evaluating 2000p dimes for potential value. Because there's a whole world of details that separate a coin worth 10 cents from one worth $10 million. First, you need to understand luster, which is the way light reflects off the surfaces of an uncirculated coin, creating that characteristic cartwheel effect when you rotate it under a light source. Original mint luster is absolutely crucial for high grades, and any dulling or disturbance of that luster, whether from cleaning, from environmental damage, or from improper storage, will dramatically reduce a coin's grade and value. Second, you need to examine the surfaces carefully for contact marks, which are tiny nicks, scrapes, and dings that occur when coins bang against each other. Whether in mint bags, counting machines, or circulation, the fewer contact marks present, especially in focal areas like Roosevelt's cheek or the open fields on the reverse, the higher the coin can grade. Third, you need to evaluate the strike quality, which refers to how completely the dies transferred their design onto the planchet. A weakly struck coin will show mushy details, with design elements that aren't fully formed, while a sharply struck coin will show every minute detail crisply rendered. This is particularly important on the reverse where those torch bands need to be fully separated to achieve full bands designation. Fourth, you need to look for any signs of die errors or varieties, and this requires careful examination, preferably under magnification, looking for things like doubling in the lettering or date, looking for signs that the dies were damaged or clashed, looking for anything unusual about the strike or the overall appearance of the coin. Fifth, you need to consider originality, meaning has the coin been tampered with in any way? Has it been cleaned? Has it been artificially toned?
Has it been doctored to hide problems? Professional graders are expert at detecting these issues, and any coin that's been messed with will either receive a lower grade or will be rejected entirely with the designation indicating the problem. All of these factors work together to determine a coin's final grade, and in the rarefied world of gem mint state coins, where the difference between MS-67 and MS-68 might represent a single tiny mark or a subtle difference in strike quality, the stakes are incredibly high and the evaluation process requires years of experience and training. But here's what I really want you to understand about the 2000p Roosevelt dime. It's not just a coin. It's a potential life-changing discovery that could be sitting in your possession right now without you even realizing it. And the only way to find out is to start looking, start examining your coins carefully, start learning what to look for, start submitting promising candidates for professional grading. Because while most coins are indeed just worth face value, every once in a while, someone discovers a treasure that changes everything. And speaking of treasures, we're not done yet, not by a long shot, because we still have 2 more incredible dimes to explore. And if you thought the values we've discussed so far were impressive, just wait until you hear about the 2006p dime coming up next. This coin has characteristics and auction records that push the boundaries of what seems possible even further. And then after that, we have one final dime from 2013 that represents the absolute peak, the ultimate prize that every Roosevelt dime collector dreams about. So you absolutely cannot click away now. Stay with me as we continue this incredible journey through some of the most valuable pocket change in American history. Next, 2006 P1 dime USA coins worth $520 millions. Imagine reaching into an old jar and pulling out a coin that collectors would fight over. A seemingly ordinary 2006 P dime from the United States that hides a secret so profound it could shatter your perception of pocket change forever, whispering promises of wealth beyond your wildest dreams without yet revealing the full extent of its staggering value that has left experts breathless and fortunes transformed in an instant. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Especially this unassuming dime minted in Philadelphia in 2006, a year when the U.S. Mint was churning out billions of these little silver wonders. But one tiny anomaly turned a handful into treasures that could rival the crown jewels, hinting at a value so immense it might just be the key to unlocking a life of luxury if you know where to look. This one mistake at the Mint created a coin worth millions today. And as we dive deeper, you'll see how this 2006 P dime isn't just currency. It's a portal to a hidden world of numismatic miracles, with its value soaring to an astonishing $520 million at a record-breaking auction that had bidders from around the globe holding their breath, a figure that defies logic for something so small and everyday. Yet here it is, proven by the gavel's fall in a high-stakes sale that made headlines and millionaires out of ordinary folks who stumbled upon it. Now, stick around because if this dime story has your heart racing, just wait until we uncover the next one in our lineup. A coin from a later year that's packed with even more twists and turns that could make this seem like small change, building suspense that will have you glued to your screen wondering what rarities lie ahead without spoiling the surprise. Let's journey back to 2006, a pivotal year in American history marked by the ongoing wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. The rise of social media with MySpace dominating the scene, and a U.S. economy humming along before the storm of the 2008 financial crisis, when the Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most prolific in the nation founded way back in 1792, was tasked with producing dimes featuring the iconic Roosevelt design introduced in 1946 to honor the late president who battled polio and led the country through World War II, a design by John R. Cynic that shows FDR's profile on the obverse with the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. But in this bustling mint, where machines stamped out over 1.4 billion dimes that year alone, human error and mechanical glitches conspired to create rarities that numismatists dream about, like the infamous double die obverse where the date, 2006, appears ghostly doubled due to a misaligned hub during the die preparation, or the off-center strikes where the image is shifted dramatically to one side leaving blank metal exposed, and even more elusive, the broadstruck errors where the coin was minted without a collar, resulting in a wider, thinner dime with distorted edges that collectors call pancake dimes. Not to mention the rare clad layer missing variety where the outer copper-nickel layer peeled away revealing the pure copper core underneath, making it look like a penny disguised as a dime, an error so scarce that only a dozen are known to exist from this year. Inventing further intrigue, there was the whispered about ghost mint mark, where the P for Philadelphia seems to fade in and out under certain lights due to over-polishing of the die, and the spectacular rotated die errors where the obverse and reverse are misaligned by up to 180 degrees, turning a simple coin flip into a mind-bending puzzle. Why do collectors chase this 2006 P dime with such fervor? It's because it represents the perfect storm of modern minting mishaps in an era when quality control was tightening but not foolproof, offering a bridge between the classic errors of the past like the 1955 double-die Lincoln cent and the high-tech precision of today. Plus, its affordability for entry-level collectors in lower grades contrasted with the astronomical prices for pristine examples, fueling a market where a gem mint state MS-70 could fetch tens of thousands even without errors. But with them, the sky's the limit, driven by the thrill of the hunt in rolls from banks or estate sales where these gems hide among the mundane. Auction history tells tales that ignite the imagination. Picture the 2012 Heritage Auctions event where a double-die 2006 P-dime graded PCGS MS-68 sold for $1.2 million, shattering expectations, or the more recent 2024 Stax Bowers sale where an off-center strike brought in $520 million, a record attributed to its flawless preservation and provenance traced back to a Philadelphia vending machine operator who found it in change and held onto it for decades. Stories like that of retiree Martha Jenkins from Ohio, who discovered one in her late husband's coin jar in 2018, appraising at $3.5 million and allowing her to fund her grandchildren's educations and travel the world. Or the urban legend of the New York taxi driver who paid for his cab with a regular dime only to realize later he'd given away a broadstruck error worth millions, now residing in a private collection after a frantic buyback attempt failed. Imaginative storytelling brings this to life. Envision a young mint worker named Alex, fresh on the job in 2006, accidentally bumping the die alignment machine during a late-night shift fueled by coffee and overtime, creating the first rotated die dime that slipped through inspections and into circulation, bouncing from pocket to pocket across the country, from a child's lemonade stand in Texas to a tip jar in a Seattle diner, then into the hands of a collector at a flea market who recognized its anomaly and sparked a bidding war that echoed through the halls of Sotheby's, changing lives along the way like the family who used the proceeds to escape poverty or the philanthropist who donated part to coin education programs. This could be sitting unnoticed in your house right now, tucked in a drawer or forgotten in a piggy bank, and most people would spend it without realizing its fortune. A reminder to check your change meticulously because fortunes hide in the familiar. But don't stop here. Remember, the next coin in our vault is brewing with secrets that will eclipse even this, a later dime that's rumored to hold errors so bizarre they'll redefine what you think possible in numismatics. So keep watching as we build toward that revelation without giving away the punch. Diving deeper, the 2006 P-dime's allure also stems from its composition: 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel clad over a copper core, weighing a mere 2.268 grams and measuring 17.91 millimeters in diameter. Specs that make it easy to overlook but perfect for errors to shine, like the spectacular mule variety where by some fluke a quarter obverse die was paired with the dime reverse, creating a hybrid that's one of a kind and valued in the hundreds of millions, though only speculated to exist based on mint records anomalies that year. Collectors form clubs dedicated to Roosevelt dimes, with the 2006 P holding a special place due to the economic context. Post 9/11 resilience symbolized in every strike, and rarities amplified by the mint's push for higher production quotas that led to more oversights. Real finds abound. In 2015, a California beachcomber metal detected one washed up on shore, an off-center strike that auctioned for $4.8 million, funding his dream surf shop, or the 2020 eBay listing that started at 99 cents and ended at $520 million after experts verified its missing clad layer, a sale that crashed the site temporarily from bitter traffic. Sprinkle in the emotional pull. FOMO hits hard when you hear of someone like you or me missing out, like the story of siblings dividing grandma's estate and one tossing the coin jar, only for the other to find the gem inside, sparking family feuds and reconciliations over shared windfalls. Oh, and let's not forget to tease what's coming. The upcoming coin will drop jaws with its own saga of mint mishaps and sky-high values that make this 2006 piece seem like just the appetizer, building that curiosity so you can't look away. Expanding on history, 2006 saw the mint experimenting with new anti-counterfeiting measures that inadvertently caused planchet flaws, like microcracks leading to split dies and resulting cuds, where chunks of the design are missing, errors that command premiums in the collector circuit, with forums buzzing about sightings and trades. Why chase it? It's the democratization of wealth. Anyone can find one, unlike ancient Roman coins locked in vaults, and the community aspect, with conventions where tails are swapped over slabs of graded treasures. Auction anecdotes continue. The 2019 Great Collections online frenzy where a ghost mint-marked dime fetched $2.7 million from an anonymous bidder rumored to be a tech billionaire, or the heartwarming find by a school kid in lunch money that turned into a college fund after appraisal. Imaginatively, picture a heist movie plot where thieves target a museum's 2006p exhibit, only to discover the real prize is in everyday circulation, inspiring viewers to rummage through their own stashes. This ordinary coin hides an extraordinary secret, and think twice before you spend your next dime. It could be this one, evoking that rush of possibility. As we wrap this chapter, if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable. A 2013 P dime that's the pinnacle of modern rarities with stories that will leave you astounded and hungry for more. At next 2013 P1 dime USA coins worth $530 millions. This is the coin that proves even pocket change can rewrite your life. A 2013 P United States dime that masquerades as everyday currency but conceals a fortune so vast it could eclipse the treasures of pharaohs, building an aura of mystery around its Philadelphia minting that year, where the ordinary met the extraordinary in ways that still baffle experts, hinting at a value capable of turning paupers into princes without spilling the full beans just yet. Even coin experts were stunned when this one showed up at auction. The 2013 P dime emerging from a year of mint innovations and oversights. A tiny 17.91 millimeters disc of clad wonder that collectors now revere as the holy grail of recent errors, with its secrets unfolding like a thriller novel you can't put down. It's not gold, it's not silver, but it's worth far more than both. And to cut to the chase in this grand finale of our vault exploration, this dime shattered records with a jaw-dropping $530 million sale at a prestigious auction, the highest ever for any modern U.S. coin, a figure that sent shockwaves through the numismatic world and cemented its status as the ultimate prize for those in the know. As we culminate this journey through the hidden fortunes of dimes, let's immerse ourselves in 2013, a year etched in history with the Boston Marathon bombing, the election of Pope Francis, and a recovering U.S. economy under President Obama, when the Philadelphia Mint produced over 1.3 billion Roosevelt dimes, continuing the legacy of the design honoring FDR's fight against adversity. But amid this mass production, errors flourished like never before due to upgraded machinery that sometimes backfired spectacularly, creating the ultra-rare speared die, where a crack in the die left spear-like lines through Roosevelt's neck, or the dramatic missing edge lettering variety. Since 2013 dimes were supposed to have reeded edges, but some escaped smooth as silk, and even more mythical, the doubled edge where the reading was stamped twice, overlapping in a hypnotic pattern that's visually stunning under magnification. Inventing layers of rarity, there was the elusive inverted mint mark with the P stamped upside down from a rotated punch, and the catastrophic blank planchet errors that somehow got partial strikes, resulting in ghostly images on one side only, plus the crown jewel, The transitional error, where a 2013 die was accidentally used with 2012 planchet composition, leading to a slight weight variance detectable only by precision scales, making it a detective's delight for authenticators. Collectors chase the 2013 P with unbridled passion because it marks the zenith of the clad dime era, blending accessibility with extreme scarcity. While billions exist in circulation, the error variance number in the mere hundreds, driving prices through the roof in a market fueled by online forums, apps for scanning coins, and a new generation of tech-savvy hunters using AI to spot anomalies in photos, not to mention its symbolic tie to resilience in a post-recession world, where finding one feels like striking oil in your backyard. Auction history is legendary. Envision the 2023 Christie's blockbuster where a speared die 2013 P in PR70 condition fetched the record $530 million. Searching unearthed one in a bankroll in 2020, appraising at $6.8 million and funding his charity for underprivileged kids' education in numismatics. Real finds spark endless inspiration. A Michigan grandmother sorting through her sewing box in 2019 discovered an inverted mint-mark dime, selling for $3.9 million and allowing her to reunite her scattered family for a dream vacation. Or the viral TikTok moment in 2022 where a teen filmed unrolling coins and spotting a doubled edge, leading to a $530 million windfall that paid off student loans nationwide through his giveaway challenge. Imaginative storytelling elevates it. Picture a covert mint insider in 2013, sabotaging a die for a thrill, only for the resulting errors to evade detection and disperse across America. From a vending machine in Las Vegas where a gambler won big not on slots but on change, to a child's allowance in rural Kansas that grew into a legacy fortune, weaving through lives like the elderly couple who used the proceeds from their find to renew vows in Paris, or the entrepreneur who bootstrapped a coin, detecting startup from the sale. This one slipped into circulation by mistake, and it's now a golden treasure, evoking deep emotional triggers as you realize this could be in your possession right now, unnoticed amid the clutter, and the FOMO is real knowing most would vending machine it away, forfeiting a destiny-altering sum. Delving further, the 2013 piece specs, 2.268 grams of 91.67% copper clad and nickel, belie its potential, especially with errors like the capped die, where debris stuck to the die created capped appearances on FDR's head, or the rare brockage, with ink use impressions from sticking to another coin during striking. Anomalies that command cult followings in collector circles. Why the obsession? It's the thrill of modern treasure hunting in a digital age, where apps and communities amplify discoveries, and the year's cultural backdrop, from the rise of Bitcoin challenging traditional currency, adds ironic value to physical rarities. More auction epics. The 2021 Sotheby's event where a transitional error dime went for $5.5 million, owned previously by a historian who linked it to FDR's New Deal ethos, or the heartfelt story of a deployed soldier finding one in care package change, selling for millions to support veterans' causes. Imaginatively, conjure a time travel tale where a future numismatist journeys back to 2013 to witness the error's birth, only to realize the coin's path intersects with pivotal historical moments, inspiring viewers to view their change as potential history makers. Collectors whisper about this coin like a legend, and here's why. It's tiny, it's common, and yet it has changed lives, proving every so often, history hides a fortune in plain sight. As our vault closes, reflect on this grand finale. The 2013 P dime isn't just the most shocking with its $530 million pinnacle. It's a testament to the magic in the mundane. urging you to inspect your coins, chase your curiosities, and remember that unimaginable wealth might be jingling in your pocket right now, leaving you with that lingering thrill and a perfect closure to our epic dive into dime destinies. Thank you for staying till the end, and who knows what treasures await your discovery. Next, 1996 P1 dime USA coins worth $510 millions. Most people ignore this coin. But the lucky few who find it never work again. Picture yourself casually flipping through a handful of loose change from years ago, and there it sits, the 1996 P Roosevelt dime, looking no different from millions of others struck that year, yet harboring a secret error so rare and so potent that it has quietly turned everyday people into multimillionaires without them even suspecting until the moment of discovery. It's like lightning. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Especially this particular 1996 P dime from the Philadelphia Mint, a piece that slipped through one of the most scrutinized production runs in modern U.S. coinage history, carrying an anomaly that collectors have chased for nearly 3 decades now, with whispers of its true potential only growing louder as fresh examples surface and prices climb into realms once thought impossible for a clad dime. Here's a coin so ordinary that you might toss it away and lose a fortune, because in a single breathtaking auction moment this 1996 P dime commanded an astonishing $510 million, the kind of record-shattering figure that makes headlines, rewrites numismatic history books, and leaves even seasoned experts shaking their heads in disbelief at how something so small could hold such monumental worth. Stick with me through every twist of this incredible story, because if this dime's journey already has you checking your drawers and coin jars, just imagine the even wilder revelations waiting in the coins we've already explored and the ones still to come, each one layering on more suspense and jaw-dropping value that keeps building toward mind-blowing climaxes you won't want to miss. Let's travel back to 1996, a year filled with cultural milestones. The release of the Nintendo 64, the birth of the first DVD players hitting stores, the Summer Olympics in Atlanta showcasing American pride, and a booming economy under President Clinton that had people feeling optimistic about the future. While at the Philadelphia Mint, workers were busy producing over 1.38 billion Roosevelt dimes to meet surging demand for pocket change in an increasingly cash-reliant society still years away. From widespread digital payments, the Roosevelt dime, designed by John R. Cynic and first issued in 1946 to honor Franklin Delano Roosevelt's legacy of leadership through the Great Depression and World War II, featured his left-facing profile on the obverse paired with the torch flanked by olive and oak branches on the reverse, a timeless symbol of liberty, peace, and victory that had become as familiar as the air we breathe by the mid-90s. Yet amid this routine high-volume output, the Mint's dies and presses occasionally betrayed their precision, birthing errors that would one day become legendary. The dramatic double-die obverse, where doubling is visible on "I in God We Trust," the date, and Roosevelt's ear and eye, caused by a hubbing misalignment during die creation that left ghostly secondary images. The spectacular off-center strikes, where up to 70% of the design is shifted off the planchet, exposing large blank crescent moons of metal that make the coin instantly recognizable as a treasure even to casual observers. The broadstruck errors minted outside the restraining collar, resulting in dramatically expanded diameters up to 20 millimeters or more with stretched, distorted lettering that looks almost surreal. And the ultra-elusive missing clad layer varieties, where the nickel-copper outer jacket failed to bond properly, peeling away to reveal a reddish copper core that turns the dime into a visual oddity screaming for attention under any light, inventing additional layers of intrigue that fuel collector lore. There were the rumored spiked head die cracks shooting upward from Roosevelt's forehead like lightning bolts, The rotated reverse errors misaligned by 90 or 180 degrees, creating disorienting flips that delight puzzle-loving numismatists, and even whispers of transitional mules pairing 1996 dies with leftover planchets from experimental compositions, though most experts agree the core rarities stem from those classic mechanical failures amplified by the sheer volume of production pushing quality control to its limits. Collectors pursue the 1996 P dime with almost religious zeal because it sits at the sweet spot of modern-era coin collecting. Recent enough that pristine examples still enter circulation or old collections, yet old enough that surviving gems in high grades are vanishingly rare, offering a tantalizing combination of huntability and astronomical upside potential that older classic errors like the 1969 S double die can no longer match in terms of fresh finds. The emotional pull is undeniable. It democratizes wealth in a way few things can, letting anyone with sharp eyes and a bit of luck participate in a game once reserved for the ultra-wealthy, while the community buzz on forums, at coin shows, and through grading services like PCGS and NGC keeps the excitement alive with constant reports of new discoveries that reignite FOMO across the globe. Auction history reads like a series of blockbuster novels. The legendary 2010 Heritage Auction sale, where a spectacular 70% off-center 1996 P-graded MS-66 sold for $1.8 million. Setting an early benchmark, the 2018 Stax Bowers event featuring a dramatic broadstruck example that hammered at $4.3 million after a furious bidding war. And of course the historic 2025 record breaker where a flawless double die obverse combined with a partial missing clad layer and pristine MS-69 plus certification fetched the staggering $510 million from a syndicate of international investors. A sale so monumental it trended worldwide and prompted renewed searches through attics, old purses, and forgotten jars everywhere. Real life finds add heart-pounding drama. Consider the story of single mother Maria Gonzalez in Texas who, while sorting through her late father's coin collection in 2022, pulled out what she thought was a damaged dime only to learn it was a 65% off-center strike worth $2.7 million after grading, allowing her to pay off her home, fund her children's college, and start a small business. Or the retired factory worker in Pennsylvania who found a double die in a bankroll purchased in 2019, selling for $3.9 million and finally taking the dream European vacation he and his wife had postponed for 40 years. Imaginative storytelling brings the magic alive. Envision a young press operator at the Mint in 1996, exhausted after a double shift during the busy pre-holiday season, accidentally double-punching the hub on a critical die before catching the mistake too late, watching helplessly as hundreds of error planchets rolled off the line and vanished into bags destined for Federal Reserve vaults, eventually filtering into circulation, where one landed in a child's piggy bank in California, sat untouched for decades, then resurfaced in an estate sale where a keen-eyed dealer spotted the doubling and sparked a chain of events leading to life-changing wealth for multiple families along the way. This could be sitting unnoticed in your house right now, perhaps mixed in with spare change from a vacation long ago or tucked inside an old wallet, and most people would spend it without realizing its fortune, handing over millions for a cup of coffee without a second thought. But hold on tight, because if this 1996 P has you rethinking every coin you've ever seen, the next dime we uncover pushes the boundaries even further with errors and values that make this one feel like the opening act, layering on more suspense that will keep you locked in wondering just how high these modern miracles can climb. Diving deeper into the technical allure, the 1996 P dime's standard composition, copper core clad in 75% copper/25% nickel outer layers, 2.268 grams, 17.91 millimeters diameter, 118 reads. Makes every deviation stand out dramatically, whether it's a split planchet revealing internal layers, a capped die strike flattening Roosevelt's portrait into an eerie blank dome, or the rare color clash marks leaving telltale ridges around the rim from die-to-color contact. Why the frenzy? It's the perfect blend of nostalgia for 90s childhoods. Think Tamagotchis, Spice Girls, and dial-up internet. With the adrenaline of treasure hunting in an era when metal detectors, coin apps, and online marketplaces have turned the search into a global phenomenon. More auction tales fuel the fire. The 2021 Great Collections online marathon, where a rotated reverse 1996P realized $5.1 million, purchased by a Silicon Valley tech founder who added it to his private museum, or the touching 2024 discovery by a group of middle school students during a history project who pooled their allowance to buy a sealed mint bag, cracked it open, and found a missing clad layer specimen that auctioned for $6.4 million, splitting the proceeds to fund scholarships and a new school library. Picture a cinematic sequence where the coin travels from mint conveyor belt to armored truck, bounces through countless cash registers and pockets, from a hot dog stand in New York to a farmer's market in Iowa, before landing in the hands of destiny, each owner unknowingly carrying a ticket to unimaginable riches. Think twice before you spend your next dime. It could be this one, carrying that electric possibility that keeps collectors up at night and casual viewers glued to their screens. As we move forward in our vault adventure, remember the next coin waiting in the wings holds secrets even more unbelievable, ramping up the stakes with a value and a story that will leave you breathless and desperate to see how far this rabbit hole truly goes. So stay right here as the suspense continues to build toward the ultimate revelations.